Ice and flames call my name. I freeze, I burn, I blame. I love, I hate the same.
Well, welcome everybody. You guys are out there in both Twitch and YouTube land. I'm Joseph from MMORPG. Uh, we've got something pretty cool for y'all tonight. The folks from Neverwinter have decided to join us, which we're extremely grateful for. And we're going to be playing through some of the new content, the North Dark Reaches that just launched early this month. With me, I've got Winter Mullinex, the narrative director, excuse me, of Neverwinter, and we've also got Ryan Zash, the content designer for Neverwinter. So, if you guys want to go ahead and say hello, we can get going.
Hello, hello. I'm Ryan, content designer, and over here is my friend Winter.
And I'm the narrative director. Pleasure to meet you all
Yeah,
virtually.
virtually. We've got some people in the chat saying "Oh hi," hello. So if
Oh,
you're not
hi.
familiar with Neverwinter, if you guys don't mind just kind of giving like a short little high level pitch for those people out there who may have not seen or played this game yet, exactly what Neverwinter is and the new content that just dropped that we're going to be playing through tonight.
Do you?
Win-win.
Okay. Um, Neverwinter is an online action MMORPG that allows you to step into the boots of a hero and explore the Forgotten Realms. That's the broad level. But for the most recent content, Brunor Battlehammer has requested that Sergeant Knox send the aid of his most capable adventurers, and so you are answering the call and going to the Underdark.
That's very mysterious, especially for those who may not be familiar with the Underdark. I mean, the name alone kind of evokes some mystery a little bit here. I've been kind of a fan of this entire Forgotten Realms section of the D&D worlds since I was probably in middle school, high school, and I have to say, like this, when we were first pitched on this module drop, um, the idea of going to the Underdark and interacting with all of these characters that I read about. I mean, you mentioned Bruin Battlehammer. That's a character that I read about for years growing up, and it's just for me, it's really cool as a fan of this particular plane, and specifically, characters like Brunar and the characters from those books, and exploring the Underdark. It's rather interesting for me to be able to finally go see that in game form, something I've just only imagined in my mind. Um, what has it been like, kind of just building out that specific part of this world? Because it's such a beloved place in the Forgotten Realms.
I'll let Ryan answer that one first, since he did the Adventure Zone.
Oh, nice.
Uh, lore-wise, however, it was fascinating. I'll let him go first.
Actually, really fun. Someone who also has spent some time, following the Forgotten Realms. Most of the D&D campaigns that I've played in Fifth Edition and a little bit before that were always set in Forgotten Realms areas. So just being able to
Mm-hmm.
see some of these areas and not just in my mind space, but watching what the artists have done to bring these areas to life and seeing like, oh, this is what imagining what this is what an Underdark cave could look like, and putting that, like laying it out in just a white box block format, and then watching the environmental artists and the art director just go through and pitch like, I want this color scheme, and creating things and just variations on it, like looking up. One of my favorite features in this adventure zone is an entrance to the final instance that, you guys, spoiler, happens at the end of the entire campaign. But the entrance to that is something that the art director took a picture, was looking through pictures of stuff, and found some really cool shot of a guy swimming around a watery sinkhole that just kind of caves in. And he liked that so much, put it up, and the artists went and ran with that. And that's how we got one of the major features of the Adventure Zone, as far as just like a scenic area that they were able to build. It's like, I love seeing stuff like that come about that I would never have expected. And just, again, this is, we're working with the Salvatores and bringing life to characters and working to set something in their book universe is just kind of really it's an honor and it's really cool to see and to do.
Right, right.
One of my favorite parts of the process as well, sitting down with Christopher Frenton, our art director, and looking at images together and just really delving into the parts we wanted to portray. Of course, all artistic stuff is their call. I talk about the narrative aspects of it. But we looked through a bunch of older books, specifically like Out of the Abyss, uh, R.A. Salvatore's older works, and just really delved deep into making it a cohesive experience. And then the team, I was constantly in touch with them, um, discussing ways we could make sure the lore, the conversations, and all that could bring it together as well. So it was just a joy.
It sounds like it was kind of well, I mean, obviously you guys enjoy your jobs, but it sounds like it was a lot of fun being able to collaborate, especially on this beloved, section of this already beloved world.
Oh, I love this team as is. Like, these are some of the most talented and skilled professionals I've ever had the joy of working with.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that our environment artists and our designers and even our engineers are so deeply entrenched in D&D. It's a joy to share that love with one another, much less work on a game based on the IP, and then also work with R.A. Salvatore. It's been an absolute joy.
Yeah, I would love to unpack that part in a little bit, but I'm sure people are tired of watching me stand around here. So I'm gonna point out that we've got Ryan playing with us. He's the one running around on the giant chicken.
I'm a spaz. I'm a bard.
It's just
Blame EQ and Vanguard for that. Sorry.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I do the same thing in Lord of the Rings Online and in Guild Wars, man. So you're good. So I'm assuming we talked to Sergeant Knox to get this thing started, correct?
Yeah, you're gonna look for a mission called Call of the King. You're gonna grab that, and we're gonna go get to talk to one of your friends.
Awesome.
And I'll follow along with you. It should let me in since we're grouped together. So.
To take on a dangerous task. Details are thin.
But any place where you get kind of stuck, like there is one issue that existed where golden paths will sometimes break when we're in a group. So I'm here to watch and make sure that if that happens on stream, I can lead you to where all the little clickies are.
Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and make that the primary quest path here, and I'm going to go ahead and summon my little disc. I love this mount because I feel like I am special, and I have like this dude who just appears and raises me out of the air. I love this.
I gotta get that tensor floating.
Go speak with Bruenor Battlehammer in Gauntgrim. So I'm gonna go ahead and follow the little trail here. I know these little these quest pathing guides are divisive in a lot of MMO communities, but I appreciate them.
And you're gonna go to the Underdark tab.
Underdark, thank you.
I need them. I get turned around in my own apartment.
And I'm assuming I hit. That's Under Mountain. Excuse me. I can read. There we
Yeah. There you go.
See, I didn't realize Under Mountain was in the game. We just did Waterdeep Dragon Heist, and it starts out in the Yawning Portal. So now that I know that it's here, I'm gonna have to come back and see how accurately I portrayed it compared to you guys.
Underdark or Undermountain's a fun one. Did that one during the pandemic with some old coworkers, and oh wow, that was the maps on that are intense.
I cannot wait.
You're amongst allies in these silver halls, adventurer. Glad I am that you've answered the call. There's something stirring in the Underdark, and it's best we know what's coming before it gets here. A friend of mine, a dark elf by the name of Braylon Janquay, is down in the North Dark Reaches. He sent a message up that he'd found something unusual, but then disappeared. I need to know what he knows. Anything else on your mind?
VO volume is a bit low. Okay, thanks for letting me know. I was about to actually ask that. Making sure that we got the volume in here, everything here situated. So awesome. Thank you for letting me know in the chat. So you mentioned that this is part of Salvatore's their upcoming or their new book, if I'm not mistaken. Making sure I understood you correctly.
So the new trilogy is called The Way of the Drow. The first book is Starlight Enclave, and the second one is Glacier's Edge. Our most recent update takes place between those two books, the first two books of the trilogy. And our next update will take place between the second and third book. So, while the story stands alone, if you read the book, you're going to get a broader picture of the situation. And similarly, if you've read the books, you will understand some of the references that might seem a little less detailed, since they're not necessarily part of the central story here. They're just related. But these are the events that take place between books 1 and 2.
Very cool. Do you think it would be necessary for players to have read the first book to understand what's going on here, or is it one of those where you guys have kind of built the narrative to allow players to jump in and jump out without needing to have all that history? It possibly provides a bit more insight, like you're just saying.
It's just a bit more story. There is absolutely nothing that would prevent players from understanding or connecting with the story. As a matter of fact, there's enough depth here that it stands completely on its own. However, if you read the books, you'll just get that world view.
Awesome. Yeah, because I haven't read the book yet. I read pretty much all of his books growing up, but I kind of fell off of it a little bit, though. When you guys announced that this was coming out and mentioned that he was part of this, it kind of put the book back on my radar. So I'm going to be working through it here soon. So I'm glad to hear that I can still kind of enjoy this without needing to read it, but maybe I can come back with a new character after having, read that first book and get a bit more insight. So it's...
One dark elf in sporing tunnels. This way.
Sorry, I'm trying not to talk over the VO a little bit. That's actually a question that I get a lot, is whether or not MMOs should have fully voice acted, characters. I find it actually rather refreshing when I play this, that they're, if not all, vast majority of them have been voice acted, and it adds so much character to this game. Because when I think of D&D, I think of the DM, effectively portraying, characters and playing the parts of these roles, and a lot of that, comes into play with how they voice them. So not really a question there, just me kind of observing that I really do appreciate that there is so much voice acting in this game, that it really drives home the setting a bit.
We have a fantastic audio team, and I completely agree with you. It can be difficult to do a fully voiced game. It really increases the scope of a title. However, when it comes to something like Dungeons and Dragons or Neverwinter in general, it just makes a lot of sense to immerse in it, and voice goes a long way towards immersion.
Well, this is unexpected.
It helps a lot too sometimes when we just have like a call out for, like, you're in an encounter or in a boss fight and the boss pops up a little bar of when it says something that may be triggered to a mechanic, is kind of like a nice little extra visual, or not visual, auditory clue that you can have, so go along with whatever visual cues going on with the encounter as well.
Okay, so it looks like we need to go speak with... Oops, didn't mean to just slash you there. Sorry, Dark Elf. Looks like we need to go speak to Rumpadump.
Rumpadump, he's from the Out of the Abyss book from 2015. So he's not an R.A. Salvatore character, but we brought him in just to make sure that everything is grounded and connected. So the tabletop R.A. Salvatore's novels, and Gino did a fantastic job on his dialogue. When we were working together on Rumpadump, he really leaned into the sort of alien misconception of myconids and how some of their basic everyday traits might come across as body horror to somebody else. He has a great sense of tone.
Yeah. No, I'm loving this character design because it just drives home what a myconid is in my head. Seeing all the spores around me, all the fungi around me, and then seeing Rumpadump, which I wasn't familiar with until just this moment. It definitely feels like this character fits here. I'm gonna go ahead and I guess he's got 2 other quests, but I'm gonna go ahead and just keep on with what we're doing right now. I'm looking for
You can
Braylon.
grab those too.
Oh, I can?
They're-
Okay, cool.
They're gonna be ones that are completed in the area that we're going to in the first quest. So
Perfect.
like if you complete them, cool. If you don't, you're gonna keep getting sent back to this area anyway. So you can complete them at your leisure. They're repeatable. They help contribute to the currency stuff that you'll need for the campaign anyway.
Nice,
Look,
nice.
how people are still sad that he doesn't dance anymore.
Yeah, I'll see if I can sneak the dance animation back in once we fix all the stupid swords that pop up everywhere.
Alrighty, so we need to go kill corrupted myconids. We need to look for Braylon Jonquay at the Lake of the Carrion King. So I'll go ahead and mount up.
We do have the bug. Can you switch to the by double clicking on the one that's look for Braylon Jankway? Let me zoom in so I can actually read it. Just to make sure that one sets your golden path because it broke because of the bug that exists.
Well, there we go.
Lakeside Retreat. Oh, it's not. Oh, there we go. Golden path's working. Good.
So you said you're playing a bard. I guess I should explain what I'm playing, unless people in the chat can see that through the HUD. I'm playing I'm very original. I'm playing a drow rogue. And I sort of mentioned that we were playing. I had just been playing D&D with a group of my friends, and this is actually my D&D character. So I started getting back into Neverwinter earlier this year because we were playing D&D, and I was kind of trying to use this as a way to prep for that. Basically, create a backstory. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm supposed to be killing these guys. I just wanted to fight something. And this was a way for me to kind of create a backstory for this character. I am dying like crazy.
Oh.
Apparently, I can't fight and talk at the same time.
Nine out of 5 doctors agree that dying is bad for your health.
No!
I'm a lousy healer. I am sorry.
Oh,
I'll
no, you're
switch
good.
to a
I'm a
healing
lousy
medic.
rogue. I'm fighting these guys as if like I'm a fighter or something.
I wasn't paying attention to your health. That was my fault.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. So yeah, I was saying effectively this is my D&D character because I went from playing in a campaign to DMing a campaign, and so I wanted to be able to like play my character, and so I started playing Neverwinter to kind of build up a back history for him to explain why he was in the other campaign. So if you notice the little Kenku running around behind me, that's my fiance's character Clink. And while I couldn't make a Kenku bard, I'm happy that we have a bard in the party so that we're at least somewhat represented here fully.
It's funny that you say that because, like, I snuck one of my my first 5th edition character. I snuck some of the modeling for that one into M20 or Jewel of Neverwinter when we released that. One of the bard trainer is actually slightly modeled after the bard character that I created in or that I played in 5th edition campaign, with a slight skewing of being named after our producer's daughter. So
that's awesome. I always wonder how much of that happens with game dev studios, adding in their own personal, RP, especially specifically MMOs, because a lot of these MMOs have roots in tabletop, games. That's what the genre root is in. And so I always wonder how much of the characters that we see on screen are actually characters these developers have played throughout the years.
Don't know if any of the, like, other than just like I will sneak pets in. So if people in the studio have a pet and I have the opportunity to sneak their pet into the game, I will almost always do that. Winter is really good about sneaking office coworkers into the game. We didn't talk to them, but in Gonsalgrim, there were 3 NPCs that were playing a game of dice and cards, and those are actually Winter modeled those after some conversations in the office and some of our coworkers.
That's awesome.
One of our artists has the title of Cheese Lord, and it's a big long story. And
That's
so
awesome.
essentially they're playing a game of Cheese Lord, and I like to get people from behind the scenes into the game as much as possible because they don't get to join the interviews or anything like that most of the time.
Mhm.
They do such amazing work. Our team is amazing. I can't even put into words how much they impress me. So
You return alone.
yeah,
Yeah, it's especially true of the artists. They like to hide.
oh my gosh,
Interesting.
they do so good.
I could perhaps help with following our
Well, if they
wayward
ever want to
friend's
talk,
trail,
we're definitely
if
interested
you
in talking
wish.
to them. Just putting that earworm out there for y'all, just in case.
My ear.
So some of you guys might be in the chat because we are doing a giveaway. We're going to be giving away 5 codes each for PC, Xbox, and PlayStation 4 for a mount. I believe it's the Boots of Misty Step. So we're going to go ahead and kick one of those off right now. We've been streaming for about 30 minutes or so, and I haven't even started it. So right now we're going to do the PC giveaway. So what I want you all to do in the chat is, let's see how we're going to do this. Type in your favorite Neverwinter module in the chat, and we're going to pick 5 people at random. Now, please only choose this right now. This is the PC code, so please only type in if you're going to be playing this on PC. We want these codes to go to people who are actually going to use them. We'll have the PS4 and Xbox codes here soon. And then what will happen, we have the stream going on both Twitch and YouTube. We've got one of our writers in the chat right now. Anything, big content drops, little content drops, Ichigo, just large updates, small updates, anything that was your favorite thing that this team has done, just type that into the chat. So we're gonna have one of our writers collect your name, and then we're gonna either reach out to you here on Twitch DM from the official account, or we will, if you're on YouTube, the easiest thing to do will be we'll just reach out to you in the chat itself, and then have you guys DM us on Twitter because YouTube doesn't allow for us to DM you. I'm gonna go ahead and talk to Minolan to get the ball rolling here.
It appears Braylon Janquay has run into some
He's
trouble
one of
in
the
North
favorite
Outreach,
characters that
but
our
now at
team
least we
built
have
for
a
us.
hint as to what he
Oh
is
yeah.
doing.
Now is this an original character for Neverwinter, or is this a character from the book as well?
This is one of R.A. Salvatore's characters. She is an ex-priestess of Lolth, and she is she's a spunky one. She's smaller than most of the other drow, and as such her model is smaller, but she doesn't lack in style, that's for sure. And
Braylon's camp was attacked only
yeah,
recently,
she's
his trail is still
kind of
fresh.
withholding her
The
own
use of a
agenda
single
until
chemical
she knows
compound,
she can
his
trust you.
footfalls can be revealed. Be wary, as this area is filled
And
with
she has great
unstable
hair.
arachnids.
I was gonna say, like you say,
And
she's
whatever
dripping with
attack
style.
Braylon,
That I kind of
Spiders
want
still about.
the hair and
Go
the
to
clothes
Braylon's
as
camp
like
near the Lake of the
cosmetics.
Carrion King, and use the compound there.
Yeah, she
That looks really cool.
Be on alert for whatever ambushed him.
I'm also a sucker for cosmetics. Like one of the things I do in Final Fantasy XIV Lotro all the time is just spend a ton of time in the wardrobe. So,
wow.
yeah, I can get into a lot of
Wardrobe
trouble that way.
space. Wardrobe space is the bane of my existence in that game. When it launched, I was unemployed, and I collected every piece of gear for every class from every dungeon. And I just have never had space on my retainers, no matter how much I pay.
So I'm trying to remember which quest we're doing now. Is it the Emissary of the Dead?
Let's go over this way. It's
Yeah,
probably
definitely.
not that one. Just because this way at least we'll hit all three portions of all 3 neighborhoods of the adventure zone
Yeah, definitely.
while you're doing it, and we'll do it in order so you don't have to backtrack as much. So the name of the mission is probably, I don't see it on there actually.
I don't
On what
either.
you got streaming. If you hit J and bring up your journal, and there should be a section for Northdark reaches.
Yeah, following the trail.
That one.
There you go.
Just click on the little check or make sure there's a check in the checkbox.
Oh, that's so weird.
There you go.
It's not showing up there.
Double click on the little crown and the arrow, and right next to the box. Yeah. Then click it again.
Following the trail. Okay, it's there.
There we go. Following the trail. And if you double click on that, it might be doing something weird because I'm in your group and I've done the mission, so that might be why it's breaking.
Yeah.
So I'll just lead you through it because I know where it is, and then we'll sort this out.
Cool. That works. Oh crap! Where'd you go?
I went up the hill.
Okay, I see you now.
This is the bug that I was talking about. There is a bug with grouped stuff that sometimes shows up and sometimes doesn't. We're aware of it. Have a Jira in. We're working on fixing it. So it's just going to take a little bit of time.
Have a Jira.
I think it's over here.
That is a sentence I have not heard in an age. I haven't used Jira in years, thankfully.
It is still the same beast that it is. Should be something over here that you can click. I believe there it is, right ahead of you. One of these guys.
There's a chest up here.
Oh, you want to get that?
Why not? Yep, I can't interact with it, so never mind.
Oh, that's part of another mission. You'll get to click many of those. Those are some guys that will stun lock us. If we want to go fight them, we are more than welcome to.
I don't want to die again this stream. I'm not.
But this guy right here, right in front of me.
Ah, there we go. Okay. These fragments of crystal. Okay, so now we gotta go assemble alchemical tracking substance. Gather water from the lake, the Carrion King, and gather ore moved from the Spinner's Holt.
So those are the different areas. This right here is called the Spinner. Yeah. This one's the Shimmering Webs, and Winter's got some background that she can tell you about it. There's some cool stuff in here.
So Shimmering Webs is on the fringes of Chednasad, which is the fallen city.
Mm-hmm.
The city is no longer here, but the prison, one of the prisons, is still around. And you'll actually get to go there eventually.
Yeah, that is really cool.
There's some fun lighting in here that folks got to do. I don't think we've mentioned any of the other streams that we did, but one of the really cool things about this Northdark Reaches module expansion, whatever we technically want to call it, is that we used a new lighting system for it. So a lot of our the lighting in this area is a lot different than it was in prior modules. So some really cool different areas that allows our environmental artists to play and do some fun things with lighting that they weren't allowed to do before. It's something similar to what Star Trek's been using it for a while, and Magic used it as well. But it's one of the first times that Neverwinter's had a chance to play with that.
I'm so glad that we did, because honestly, when you're doing an underground setting, bioluminescence and lighting is of the utmost importance to keep things from feeling samey. You can put shapes and all varieties in the dark, and in the dark they will be they'll just kind of fade into one another. But with this, you've got the Fair's Rest, that sort of purplish pink haze in the sky, or the above you, and you've got the spores, you've got all these magical lights, you've got the bioluminescence from Silifir in the Lake of the Carrion King. It's I love it. I love it.
I cheated and showed you where this was, so if you were looking for spoilers, sorry.
Oh. Well, sorry.
We're here. It's a quick little thing to let you see, get a skimming overview of a lot of the of this neighborhood. This is another fun one, Spinner's Holt. So if you're afraid of spiders, you're gonna hate this one. Sorry, can't really do much about that.
Well, I mean,
you're in
we
the Underdark.
Literally in the Underdark, spiders are a thing.
Yeah, Drow have a thing for spiders.
Yep.
All right, this one's harder for me to find without the waypoint, so let me see if I can remember where it's hiding.
You're good. So I guess while we're walking around, I had mentioned a little bit ago that I wanted to kind of unpack what it was like working with Ari Salvatore and his son Gino on the story of Northrog Regis, and you kind of touched on it a little bit with what it was like for him to one of them to take one of the original Neverwinter characters and roll with them effectively. But what was like kind of just working with him and working with them both, excuse me, because it's not just R.A. Salvatore, it's his son as well, and building out the story for this next content update.
Well, it all started with basically being told that we are going to work with RA and Gino Salvatore if they were available at the time, since they had the new trilogy coming out. I started reading the books. I looked at what happens between book 1 and 2, or what happens in book 1, what happens in book 2. I started kind of scoping out with the team what we could feasibly tell between those two books and brainstorming with them. Ryan, Randy, our creative director, Elliot, Chris, everybody who loves the stories, and just basically came up with an outline of what could possibly happen. Shared it with the Salvatores, whom I've actually known for a very long time. It was kind of funny. I never thought I'd have the chance to work with them. I was just like, well, I guess this is finally happening. It was kind of serendipity. Um, but it was brilliant. Uh, we shared the outlines with them. They're like, we like this, we don't like this. This is feasible, this isn't feasible. And then we just started brainstorming together, collaborating, and they took a lot of it from there. And then Ryan and I built the peripheral story.
Over here, it's Mr. Blueblad. He's kind of blue, and he'll drop a currency that you probably want for Adventure Zone stuff. He's one of the many names that just dwells around here. I got this little fungal bullet pup that likes to show up every once in a while. They're kind of a fun little skin.
I just realized I was muted. I was sitting there trying to talk.
Oh.
I'm not using push to talk, but I have a mixer board in front of me that I just tapped the mute button on habit. Anyways, so yeah, we gave away the PC codes. Hopefully Mike's got those names written down. We're gonna go ahead and do the Xbox codes now while we are traveling back to the camp here to turn this quest in. So what I want you guys to do this time is go ahead and put in the chat your favorite Neverwinter character. Can't be yours, can't be your character, but your favorite Neverwinter NPC character, I should say. So go ahead and throw that in the chat. Again, this is for the Xbox Boots of Misty Step mount. We'll go ahead and gather those names, and we'll reach out to you and get you that code after the stream.
What? Who's your favorite Neverwinter character? I'm curious.
To be fair, I'm not sure I have one yet. I'm always going to be partial to the characters that I read about. So like Bruenor in the game has been great. Lord Neverember is great too, because I was able to take your guys' take on Neverember and use it a little bit in my D&D campaign.
Awesome.
So it's been fun kind of exploring this world, considering the campaign I'm playing is set in it as well. Alchemical. Oh, thank you. I'm trying to.
Don't
I was
forget the
looking at the
clicky.
wrong quest tracker, thinking we were heading back to the camp now, and oh man, that bug is throwing me off. Ichigo says I like Sergeant Knox. I think Sergeant Knox is a good character. You know, he kind of sends you on your way for pretty much everything, right?
He's a good ground character.
Yeah, he tells you most of the stuff. Yeah, and this is easy. Even if the golden path's broken, you just follow the feet.
Oh, nice. Okay, I was wondering if these are the feet I should be following.
I think my favorite. I tended to always like gravitate towards the cute furry thing. So boo. Luckily, this other guy's also doing the same mission that you're doing. So
Nice.
there'll be some stuff to click on the ground. Sword, arrows, blood splatto. Chat.
I still remember when we were having the blood spatter discussion. I'm like, do we need that much blood?
Really? This doesn't seem like a lot.
Raylan's a bleeder.
I mean, more power to him. I hope he's on iron pills.
Oh crap, Driders. I don't like Driders, guys. I have a
Most
bad
people
experience
don't.
with Driders.
What did it do to you?
Oh, I've been killed by too many Driders earlier on in my D&D campaign. When I started playing D&D, it was back when it was 2.5D.
Oh,
And yeah, I didn't play for like 20 years, and that was my last experience with it. Was second and a half edition advanced D&D. And I think one of the last experiences I had was being killed brutally by a Drider. Did I just trigger this again? I'm sorry.
You didn't trigger it again. The other guy triggered it. We helped him, and now, now we're dealing it. The joys of multiplayer game.
It just seems like whenever the Drow want to like do something dastardly to you, they just turn you into one of those. And so it always feels bad because you're fighting something that probably didn't deserve what happened to them, but at the same time, you don't want to go anywhere near this thing because they're vicious and they're kind of nightmare inducing, especially as someone who has mild arachnophobia.
This is not a good mod for the mild arachnophobia. At least her spiders look mostly fake.
Yeah.
I will say that the Driders are part and parcel to, Ari Salvatore's work, and this this trio of books in particular delves into a struggle that is sort of arising. You'll sort of see a struggle between the Lothian loyalists and there are just these brewing tensions between the Lothian loyalists and ex-Driders, known as the Blaspheme.
Huh. That's
found
a nice little
D-Drider.
tease.
I like seeing that someone mentioned Makos as their favorite character. He's probably one of the more, probably the deepest of the characters that Cryptic and Watsy have worked together on, because there's some overlap between us and Watsy, so Wizards of the Coast. So that's actually kind of cool that someone mentioned that. He's one that I think Randy would appreciate seeing people list.
Nice.
Free.
Wilfred is another good
love-
NPC. Woods Monk says.
Oh, Wilfred.
I'm sorry, I talked over you there, Win.
See more stories surrounding Makos.
We have much planning to do.
See, I see Mako, and I know he's a character in this game, but like I see Mako, and I'm thinking like Final Fantasy VII. That's kind of what my upbringing with that word is.
And yet you
That is
Still, this was not unexpected.
that one's the relaunch that I have to eventually one day try, but we'll
Oh
see.
man, you should. It's pretty good.
I want to wait till they're all done with it and then get them all.
That's probably
As
a
opposed to
smart
like
move.
waiting years.
Yeah. Okay, so we're doing Braylon's Last Stand now. Travel to the Shimmering Webs and discover Braylon Jonquay's fate.
Okay. Let's hope that the waypoint works for this one. Otherwise, I think I'm on that one actually.
Braylon could very well be in their custody.
Yeah, so let's see if you can get it to trigger the waypoint, and then if not, I can try to trigger it.
Okay. Let's see if we can. See, whenever I click it in the journal there, it just removes it completely. Okay.
Oh, yeah, removed it for me too. Yay, I love this bug.
Yep.
I think I know
Yeah,
where we're going.
it's having me go to Rumpadump. Rumpadump, excuse me.
Yeah, it should send you to Rumpadump first, so if it's doing that at least, that's good.
Thanks, you meatling. More meatling questions?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought it was just because I had a quest to complete with him, so.
The drow have been poisoning and kidnapping my Myconids.
I will say, of all the systemic things in the world and all the games I've worked on, Golden Path are surprisingly one of the more difficult ones.
Really?
They break all the time.
You know, that makes sense now that you say that, but it's one of those where I kind of think, you know, those of us who actually do enjoy it kind of take it for granted, just expecting that it's a line being drawn. But no, I mean, that makes sense that they would break because it's also dynamic, isn't it? It changes based on your position and everything.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those fun ones because it also, like, we did a bunch of changes back when we relaunched Sharndar that were just not related to Sharndar, but they broke all the golden paths, so we had to do a whole bunch of changes. And even like going back now, it's like when people go through and play older stuff, we find it's like, oh nope, broken here, have to fix that. Oh nope, broken here again, have to fix that. That's just part of game design. When you change one little thing, you think it's not going to touch anything,
Right.
and it touches 800 different things that are old. So I believe this is where we want to be.
Yeah, it looks like it. There's plenty of dead drow here and a shining thing for me to interact with. Alas, as I expected, Minolin Fey has sent someone after him. Oh no, more dreaders.
One.
Just gonna go ahead and sneak and run away.
It's fun that you're playing Rogue. That's what I typically play. So it's like, I feel safer.
Yay, go.
Now we just need to quickly go visit Minolin. Check that. And we took a shortcut to the area because easier.
This zone just looks so cool.
Yeah, Colin, who's the environmental artist who dealt with this part of it, did a really good job here. And Winter and Chris Friend, our art lead, gave some really good direction on what needs to be done for here.
Yeah, this one was Colin, I believe.
Yep.
Yeah, he really did a great job pulling it together.
Well, you had mentioned the lighting update that you guys implemented in this, and it's really coming through here. Like the indirect glowing from the fungi here, plus the hazy lights at the top, it just adds so much atmosphere.
So glad.
Not to mention the little spiders that pop out of the web bundles every once in a while.
Oh yeah.
Everything's wish.
No, I've noticed
Wow.
this. I'm just ignoring it because, again, mild arachnophobia. So.
Yeah. That was very 80s of me. I'm like, ew, grody. Really?
It's awesome.
Yeah, even just what they did with the mushrooms, like the artists, like I built a real quick thing for the artist to like use as like a not like just as in the white box, gray box as a quick idea, and built like one or two of these like mushroom things and took an arch and put a bunch of mushrooms on it.
Mhm.
And they just took that and ran with it, and that's how we've got what we have here.
I mean,
all mushrooms everywhere.
It adds
That's
so
just
much
all
to
the
this.
artists. Like you can see that, like if you look up right now, you'll see the arch that, like I just took a prop piece that was built that way and stuck a bunch of mushrooms on it. I'm like, okay, that's designer art, that's done. And then like 3 days later, they took it, moved it into a better spot, and then put like 800 mushrooms all over the place. I'm like, yeah, that's way better than anything I could have come up with, at least building and doing.
Yeah, Chad really rocked this one. He just
Yeah.
like came in and we had this grand idea and he's like, oh yeah. And he just made it happen. We're just like, how? How?
They do magic. Artists make magic. Like everyone talks about, it's like we want new content. And that flappy noise you can hear, that means that the dragon is spawned in for one of the HEs.
Nice.
And we're aware of that bug as well. The fun things of launch week and trying to get things coordinated around Thanksgiving break.
Right.
Um,
right. I mean, I
but,
just thought it was meant to be here, so.
Sadly, no. My ears hurt every time I hear it.
Oh.
Even if not, there are important
Okay, so we
But
gotta
yeah,
go save some drow.
yes, that's up this way, back to the other spot.
And doesn't
Avoid
move
the little
the...
myconids running around.
So
Yeah, so there's a lot of fun things.
we were just talking about how much these mushrooms just kind of add to the scenery. It genuinely makes this place feel kind of a bit wild, untamed, and that's kind of the feel I always got of the Underdark, even in places like the Drow cities and the gosh, I'm blanking on the race's name, but it's the gnomes.
Margar? Oh,
Them too, yeah.
Scarf Neblin.
Neblin, yeah. Um, even like just reading about those places in the books, they still felt a little bit like it was. I'm trying to think of the right word here. Yeah, I can't think of it. But it always felt like it was a little bit untamed. In the descriptions, they were just manicured, manicured manicured wilderness. So seeing all those mushrooms everywhere, just kind of towering over, and how the myconids in that little camp have kind of built around them and incorporated them into the environment, incorporated themselves into the environment, and then the way you guys have portrayed like the prison there outside of Chad Nassad, and the caverns in that one area, the Shimmering Webs area, it just really it piques my imagination because it's pretty much what I pictured growing up, reading about these.
Love that. I love that because we really tried to take the theater of the mind and turn it into something tangible that would speak to fans of the Underdark. One of my favorite parts of the Underdark is that in so many ways it feels alien, in that we don't live underground. We don't really get to experience life underground, but it's not really all that different. It's
I
just
was actually. Oh, I'm sorry.
it's just intriguing.
He's talking about more Driders. I don't want to see more Driders, guys. No, I was actually wondering how you guys were going to portray it, because this isn't the first time the Underdark's been in Neverwinter, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
It's not.
It's the first time that we've done a full adventure zone that's Underdark based. We've had small little instances in the Underdark, and there's also Undermountain.
Right.
But that's slightly different because that's Howler's playpen. Hey, look, treasure chest. Go have fun clicking it.
Yay. Well,
Secret hidden spot.
so what I was going to ask is it's it's kind of portrayed as like this lightless zone, and obviously you can't build a pitch black adventure zone. So I really do like the accents you've built here to kind of give this area, the light it needs to be able to explore normally, and it all feels natural. I mean, you got glowing crystals, you've got the glowing mushrooms, you've got the torches and the kind of purplish, pinkish, bluish haze that I kind of associate with the drow. Yeah, no, I'm going on about how it all looks, but it genuinely does look amazing, and I'm really enjoying just kind of exploring it.
And it actually has a basis in lore, like that purplish radiation you see out there. That is called the Thayer's Rest. It is actually a radiating energy that comes from Lolth's presence in the Underdark.
Mhm.
So it's another lore element that comes into play.
So I think it's probably a good time to go ahead and do the places. Oh, that's a big dude.
Yeah, if we stop right over here, we should be safe for a few minutes. I can hopefully hold off anything that attacks you.
No, I was just gonna say I think it's probably a good time to go ahead and do the PlayStation 4 code giveaway. So we did favorite Neverwinter content. We did favorite Neverwinter NPC. I think what we'll do this time, and again, this is for the PlayStation 4 mount code for the Boots of the Misty Step. We'll be reaching out to you via DM here on Twitch and Twitter. Once we have the name, we'll post it in chat once we have the names all chosen on YouTube, and we'll go ahead and reach out there. But I think for this one, we're going to go ahead and I don't know. What do you guys think? Best or favorite Neverwinter? I'm trying to think of something interesting for people to come up with some good answers for. I guess quest. If you have a favorite quest out there that you've done or a memorable quest. There we go. That works. Favorite class to play as is probably a little bit easier to come up with. But yeah, go ahead and type in your favorite class or favorite quest at this point, since I said both. And then we'll go ahead and pick 5 people at random for the PlayStation 4 code, and we'll get those to you. So what are we doing from here, Mr.?
So there's over there's a age that we got to go let a drow out of.
Okay.
So yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
They interrupted my song.
Oh. Seems to always be a thing bards have to deal with.
There's blasphemed drow stuck behind a cage, yearning to be free.
Blaspheme prisoner.
And he or she will run off. We can go get the other one.
Awesome.
It's hiding over here.
By the way, I just want to point out Ryan was the main designer on this Adventure Zone, and I think it just came out so phenomenal.
There are a lot of people who did a lot of good work on this. Winter and Noah and everyone else. Not to mention Chad and Alex and Colin, who's doing all the art for this, and Miku doing all the system stuff.
The outsourced team helping out, yeah.
Yeah, we had some help from people that we normally don't have working on stuff. Neverwinter specific, so it was kind of fun to have those outsourced people working on that. So that was really fun. Normally they just bring in the armor and build armor and stuff like that, but two of them got to help build adventure zones. One of which being the neighborhood, the Lake of the Carrion King, which is all the water heavy area in this one. And Alex helped out building that. And that was really great working with him because I normally don't. Let's go hit the scrying stone over here for you. So
yeah, sure.
It was just really fun working with him because he's not someone that I've normally worked with, in the time that I've been at Cryptic, and just getting some time to work with him and have him stretch doing something that he normally doesn't do was really cool. And I think he did a great job.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely enjoying what we're playing right now, and it feels like it's the zone itself. It feels very natural to kind of run around. It helps having someone who worked on it show you all the shortcuts, but I don't know.
Especially when things break.
I'm sorry.
Especially when the golden path breaks.
Right? No, I think I'd be lost. I've become so dependent upon those, which is probably a bad thing, but I like them. But
we all are dependent on it.
Whether you think it or not. Yeah, no, it just feels like it's laid out very, very naturally. It's got a good flow to it so far.
I'm running.
I don't want to fight any more drow. I feel like it's drow on drow violence right now.
Yeah, that is one of the sad things that I've noticed in reading a couple feedback threads. It's just like, yeah, sometimes the folks who are playing drow feel kind of bad having to go and kill drow, and it's like, yeah, there's a lot of drow in this adventure zone, and you're gonna end up killing a bunch of them, and there's a lot of drow in the dungeon, so you're gonna end up killing a bunch of them too. It's like, all right. Yeah, I wonder if tieflings felt the same way when we were doing M19 and M18, and you're just killing devils all over the place. So I try to convince my players of that, but they just don't agree. And they just keep hellish rebuking me, and it just makes me feel sad.
Those pesky tieflings. So you mentioned the dungeon. Are you referring to the revamp of the Temple of the Spider?
Yes.
Which
is also drow heavy.
Yeah, no, definitely. We did an interview with you guys on that. That went on the site earlier this month, I believe. But I kind of wanted to pick your brain shortly while we still have a little bit of time. I don't know how much longer you guys have, but one of the things that a lot of MMOs seem to be doing right now is going back and revamping older content, and this is something you've been doing for a little bit as well. This isn't the first dungeon you guys have revamped. Was it one of those where it was always kind of on your roadmap to revamp this dungeon, and it just happened to be the same time you're doing a drow focused adventure zone, or was this always kind of the plan, drow focused adventure zone plus revamp this at the same time to kind of get that synergy going?
Part of it was the drow focus. A part of it was the dungeon was getting out of date and needing a little bit of love.
Mm-hmm.
Also, one of the nice things is we have this new lighting tech that we had brought in with Dragon Slayer, and we can start rolling that out to other areas of the other areas of the game. And one of the nice things is, hey, if we're going to have this nice drow expansion, we're going to be working with R.A. Salvatore. We have this dungeon that we can revamp, tweak around. One of the nice things are Lasser or Michael Lynch are one of our systems designers who's in charge, who does most of the dungeons and trials right now. It gave him a chance to go in, clean up some of the mechanics, put in some new bosses that do some really nice new mechanic, provide a decent challenge for our end game players, as opposed to just something that they can just steamroll. So there's a lot of nice things that we were able to do with that. And I think it was a good decision to go in and retouch that up. It's akin to, similar like when we went in with Sharndar, we replaced a bunch of textures, we did a bunch of things. So when we go and we revisit old things, whether it be an old event, like if we do, summer or winter festival and go and just tweak the lighting, it adds a decent amount of stuff, especially if it's just a lighting touch up for a little bit of development time that doesn't take away from other things, but just add some pluses to things that people will be seeing year after year. So it's some fun things that we can do for low budget. Granted, Temple of the Spider wasn't a low budget fix because we had to do a bunch of there was a bunch of stuff that went with it. But yeah, it is one thing that we do touch on. I'm just trying to see what your mission is now.
It looks like I need to go talk to Minolin
Minolin
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Minolin.
I was dumb and didn't pick the mission up, so I have no idea where we're going now. It's like, which one are we doing?
Yeah, so you mentioned the new boss mechanics and just new bosses altogether. One of the things that I've kind of I literally just had a brain fart. I'm so sorry, guys. It's been a long day. One of the things I was curious about was what the approach was in terms of building out those bosses. Was it a matter of building out a story first to fit into this, or just, hey, we've got some new tech, we've got some new things we want to try, here they are?
I'm not aware of any story parts for that. Winter might know more.
For Temple of the Spider?
Yeah.
For Temple of the Spider, we saw an opportunity to kind of tap into the aforementioned struggle that I brought up, and that is the tensions brewing between the Lalthian loyalists and the blasphemes. So by reframing some of the characters on that, we were able to actually pull in some of the lore and make it fit within this struggle. Previously, it existed, but it didn't have really deep lore. But now we were able to make it cohesive.
That's awesome. Is that something you think you're going to be looking to do in future revamps as you guys decide what's next down the road?
I think that completely depends. It's something I would love to do, but I think it completely depends on what the future holds, like what the next updates will be past the next one with R.A. Salvatore.
Nice. Well, it looks like we've got to go and enter the Tower of... I can't read that. Yeah, thank you. My text.
Winter's the only one who knows how to pronounce everything.
Normally that's me. I'm a huge Lord of the Rings freak, so whenever people try to pronounce Elvish names in that story, I'm like constantly correcting them. My issue right now is I've only got one monitor, and so I'm playing this in windowed mode so I can stream it, and I can't read it because the text is too small.
It was kind
So you have a story instance that we're doing next, so that'll be a decent 15 to 25 minute investment of your time.
Perfect. If you have time, we can definitely run through it. Otherwise, we can end it here. Totally up to you guys.
I'll leave that up to Winter to make the call because
I don't any more meetings for the evening.
Okay, so I'm cool to run through it, and we can go ahead and end from there. That should give Mike enough time to get all of the names gathered for the giveaways as well for me. I was hoping we would actually be able to do a little bit of a story encounter like this. So I wasn't quite sure how far into the adventure zone that would be, because like I said, I hadn't started this in anticipation for playing in the beginning parts with you. So
well, you just hit the story beat.
awesome.
I remember when we were naming the instances like Gebsul Nasad and Nirtalamshin. Gebsul Nasad in particular, we were talking about Chednasad and how this was a part of Chednasad which no longer exists. And we played with many iterations of Drow language to kind of come together and decide on the prison of Chednasad, which would come down to Chednasad.
It's fun seeing like the differences between when we first pitched what we were going to be doing for this and the zone layouts that I had. And it's like, oh, we're going to do this giant thing up on the top of a hill and like a giant mushroom, and it's like, nope, 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 nope. All right, this is what it ends up evolving into. But just all the changes of everything is kind of hilarious to look at now when Winter was mentioning that.
I'm loving.
But yeah, this is an instance that's kind of fun.
Oh,
just beware of traps.
I guess so.
Wouldn't be Drow if they didn't trap everything. At least there's no more injuries anymore, so.
I just attacked a dead dude. That's great.
Okay, it's a spider. You gotta stab it twice to make sure it's really
exactly.
dead.
That's how I'm gonna justify it to myself.
We just gotta go visit. There's some prisoners that are locked up. They usually have a glowing thing, sparkly thing, and a glowing lamp next to them.
Okay.
When you click on them, the lamp will eventually turn off, letting you know that you've that prisoner's been cleared. Once they run away. So some cool stuff.
That's a good way to telegraph it.
Yeah, that was the one big point of feedback. Is like, I missed all the prisoners again, or there's that one prisoner I missed. Where are they hiding? And Noah worked together, or one of our designers, Noah, built that out. It's like, yeah, that's actually a great thing. We should do that everywhere going forward.
So I guess one of my final questions that I had kind of prepared ahead of time for this was, and we kind of talked about it a little bit, and it has more to do with building out these stories so that they retain that feel of D&D. Obviously, you know, it's a little bit harder to predict exactly what a player is going to do, because, you know, you really can't predict everything a player is going to do. And one of the great things about D&D is that imagination and how stories can kind of go anywhere based on their actions. But with an MMO like this, you kind of can't do that. So I was wondering what it's like to kind of build out these zones and build out the narrative while keeping in mind that one of the great draws of D&D is the ability to kind of play your own adventure a little bit, while also remaining rooted in the story you're trying to tell as well.
It's a very good question. I think one of the big things to keep in mind is that the story is always coming down to the player. The player is the center of their own story. So when you're developing a story around that, you know, obviously the story needs to be a little more on rails. We put together Easter eggs and whatnot when we can, but the story does have to be a little more on rails than, say, a campaign would. You can't pull the typical everyday D&D power move like, you know what, I'm going to burn down the tavern. Because, you know, I don't know a single D&D group who doesn't do that. But yeah, don't have so many of those emergent moments, but what we do is, as D&D enthusiasts ourselves, we look at all the things we would want to experience. We look at things our campaign groups have experienced or done in the past, and we think about ways that we could create content that feels equally compelling. So we do that all with the frame of reference that the focal point is the player.
I didn't even see that trap next to that chest. Thanks for not letting me get skewered.
You're welcome.
Getting skewered is bad for your health.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm assuming that's kind of the same approach you're taking with the design of the adventure zones, right, Ryan?
Yeah, adventure zones are interesting because it's the one area that we allow you to get as much freedom as possible, because there's a story quest that goes through, but we want to give room for the person who likes to go and explore a space. And even though it is a finite space with invisible walls to keep you from getting outside the map and breaking things, we still have to try to encourage the playstyle of explorers. So just trying to find little nooks and areas to hide things, to provide a payoff for those folks. Because like I mentioned Lasser. Lasser and I used to raid in other MMOs before we worked at Cryptic, and he was one who loved to go and collect all the stupid little shiny things he can find on the ground. And it was one of those things that's like, I like, but it's not what I'm going to spend all my off hours doing. But it was, have to acknowledge that those people have those type of, that is their passions in these games. It's the thing that they gravitate to, and trying to find ways to place those, but yet not railroad them to be so obvious that they can, that they're just, it's punching you in the face. Also not making it so difficult that it requires the most precise set of jump mechanics to go and actually find and achieve is the other trick. Luckily, I don't do the jump mechanics too well, so.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. One of the things I loved about Dragonbone Vale was the fact that we had that vertical element for a moment.
I wanted that. I missed my glider.
I had to take a second to look up because I know we're in a tower now, but I wasn't expecting that when I looked up.
Big ceilings.
Yeah. I really feel like I'm in just a large enclosed space, and it's not so much claustrophobic, but it is, if that makes any sense.
Watch out for the traps, by the way.
It does make sense. It's not claustrophobic, but it does instill that sense of dread that is necessary for this.
Yeah. Apparently we're still in combat, and I'm trying to disable traps. I'm sorry.
No worries. So Ichigo has a question about had two questions about stuff. One about Astral Diamonds and Zen Market. I would totally love to answer those, but as a content designer and not a product person, I have zero answers for you on that. It's not that we're avoiding your question, it's that both Winter and I are involved with drastically different portions of the game, so we don't have any answers to those questions. So sorry, Ichigo.
If you have any questions about the portions of the game that we've been talking about, though, feel free. We definitely would love to take some questions from the chat before we log off here. Stop hitting me with your priest magic, priestess.
He's not blowing spiders up on us, because that's what I hate when they do that.
Go ahead and free these dudes over here. I kind of low-key forgot that that's what we were doing because I've just been having fun killing Drow again. I felt bad for a minute, and then remembered this character wouldn't feel bad, so I stopped.
Good. And we're both able to disarm stuff, so that's kind of fun, too.
Yeah.
Whoops, they have big bark grounds.
Did you say barf grounds?
Yes, I call them black barfs.
I think I might steal that.
Yeah, Winter has a lot of cute little funny words that she uses. I also do, and I tend to like cute furry animals, so.
Obtain the jailer key complete. I almost just walked right into that trap because I was looking at the ceiling.
It's very easy to walk into them. Although when I first joined the team, the traps still had all the injuries on them, and
Mm-hmm.
my first few years working at the company is like I don't ever want to place a trap anywhere because I don't want to have people endure the misery of them. But recently they removed them, so it's like, all right, traps everywhere again.
Right?
Cobalt Horror Dungeon coming up soon. Not really, but wouldn't mind building one.
Planning content down the road. Maybe.
Just dreams or nightmares that might one day become reality or not, depending on background stretch lists. Improving queue times. I don't have any answers for that because, again, that's going to hit the systems and other interesting. Ooh, there's something fun over here you should do.
Okay, I'll do it. I'll disarm this first because I almost walked right into it. Oh, is it the ogre? Do I need to? Should I?
Free me. I help fight.
But you might fight me instead.
You never know.
Oh, hey! He doesn't have a red bar anymore. That's convenient. I don't know if you know the YouTuber Joel Haver. He does like
not off the top of my head.
he does like animations and really interesting looking retro animations for his channel, and he has a series where he's an RPG player playing through an RPG for the first time. And one of the episodes he talks about how you know that someone's a bad guy because they have a health bar above their head, and when they're no longer bad guys, their health bar disappears. So seeing the ogre's health bar disappear just now was like, okay, well, Joel knows more about game design than I do, I guess.
It's a sign that he's becoming good. He's becoming a friend.
Okay, so we still have prisoners to release.
Yes, probably 1 to 2 more.
Yeah, looks like we're at 80%. Oh, obtain a jailer key.
Guessing that means we kill a jailer.
Yep. Oop, gonna disable this because I will back into it.
You want to pull them over it?
Oh, I guess I could have done that. I'm just so afraid of
It's
me
a lot of
getting
work.
hurt.
That's fair. Gotta look out for number 1.
Yeah. He says as he then rolls over a trap. Good job, Joseph.
You didn't want the trap to feel unused.
Yeah, no, I wanted to make sure that it knew it was there, that it knew that I knew it was there. Jailer key complete. Okay, so I guess we gotta head up to the 3rd floor.
Let's look at you this chest.
Oh, I don't know if that pulls you in with me.
Nope.
Oh, that's cool. The
And
little
one of the,
floating magic discs.
yeah, one of the narrative things that they set up with this is trying to sell the differences as you go up in the tower. It becomes more drow. You start off in the basement, which is filled with spiders. Move forward, it becomes more and more drow heavy and more enchantment heavy, as you can see from the way that things are set up now.
Yeah.
Noah did a great job on this.
Yeah, I like a lot of the instances that Noah builds. He does a good job with them.
Good.
Instead of just making mindless kill ones, there's a lot of storytelling, and that's one of his passions. So it's fun to see him embracing that and going forward with it.
That's one thing I love about working with Noah is that if I have a story idea or he has a story idea, we'll collaborate on it.
Oh, I thought those were enemies we had to kill. Okay, that was cool.
Big room of prisoners that may or may not be getting turned into drow or driders.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was kind of avoiding that, thinking that if I did that, I would release a ton of enemies, and I was looking for the prisoners to free. I love having this ogre with us, by the way. This is a good call.
I don't know if that was Noah's call directly or if that was Randy Matsundaz's. I always pronounce his name wrong. He's just Randy to me. But it was one of their decisions, I believe.
Sure.
Andy and Noah discussed it, and it came together. And there will be different creatures.
There are. When I did this last on my main, I had the Umberhull.
Oh, so that's a rotating creature. It's not always the same.
Correct.
That's cool. Ah!
With an MMO, it's always important to do what you can to keep the content fresh.
Oh, definitely. Is this a repeatable quest you can do, or is this just a one-off?
The instances.
Yeah, you get to repeat it. You'll do it once, and then you repeat it. And the way that we incorporate that is you're going to... Winter had a cool idea of creating a character that we like to call the Historian, who shares the history and events of the area with the younger Myconids. So in helping teach them, you reenact the prior instances and things to help tell the story to the Myconids.
They communicate through spores, so these sorts of experiences and ideas can sort of be crystallized in a sense, so to speak, and then shared with one another. It's a vast network. A part of which you'll kind of get to explore later, in a way.
Hmm.
Like, how can I say that without being too spoilery?
It's always the problem, isn't it? We face that when we write about the games too, to be honest with you, is how do we describe what we're seeing without giving away what we're seeing or what we're experiencing.
And I for some reason, always like this window. But that's just me.
Oh, that is cool. Very spiderwebby. Very on theme. I feel like the drow have a brand and they just hammer it home.
They might be into spider themes.
Yeah, they might like spiders a little bit. Okay, so just seeing the statue in front of us through this haze, that's really cool. I want a player house with that in it.
You want a lawless statue with spider legs in your house.
Not liking spiders, yes. I'm an enigma wrapped in a contradiction.
You're a drow.
Exactly.
Like a filet mignon, but a filet contradiction.
And we get to go with the stinky cheese.
Mizrim's failures will not reflect poorly on me. Farewell, Iblis, and a quick death to you.
I'm gonna apologize in advance if we die, because it'll probably be my fault.
And as you
said, the stinky cheese, gorgonzola.
right over there, you'll see that that is Cerebel's or Cerebel's or Lauren Do'Urden, another ex-priestess of Lolth.
Did I just hear you say Do-Erden?
You did.
That sounds familiar.
Thank you for
Just a
rescuing
little.
me. I wish you had slain my captor as well.
Oh, can't be. Okay, that sounds like the kind of drow I play. Thanking you, but also reminding you where you failed.
Minolin lives? Good. He
Now, you
was
said she's
here,
an ex-priestess of
badly
Lolth?
wounded. Levira Vandry healed him and took him. I know not where.
And
Where
she's a
is
prominent
Minolin
figure in the
Fair?
books,
I
so.
should rejoin her as soon as possible. Good. I will join her there. Stand close.
Okay, I guess we're getting teleported. And I think that's probably a good place to end. Thank you so much for joining us, Win and Ryan. I really appreciate y'all's time and putting up with my poor drow play, my poor rogue play.
Pleasure.
And
No problem.
thank you everybody out there in the chat who watched. We'll probably do another one of these down the road when the next update hits. So stay tuned. And if you have any other questions or anything like that, or if you want to check out the game, you can go download it on Steam or through the Arc launcher, I believe. And then you can also grab it on Xbox and PlayStation. It's free to play, and it's definitely worth your time. It's definitely one of those MMOs that's in my rotation again. Large
It's on the Epic Store.
Oh, it's also on the Epic Store. Thank you. I did not know that actually. Yeah, no, it's definitely back in my rotation. Partly because I'm playing D&D again, partly because the content is just good. So it's worth your time to play. So thanks again for joining us, and we'll get those codes out to those people who won. And yeah, have a great weekend.